And our Old Testament reading today, which I like to call the First Testament, is from Genesis chapter 29, verses 15 through 28. Laban said to him, "Just because you are a relative of mine, should you work for me for nothing? Tell me what your wages should be." Now Laban had 2 daughters. The name of the older was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. Leah had weak eyes, but Rachel had a lovely figure and was beautiful. Jacob was in love with Rachel and said, "I'll work for you 7 years in return for your younger daughter, Rachel." Laban said, "It's better that I give her to you than to some other man. Stay here with me." So Jacob served 7 years to get Rachel, but they seemed like only a few days to him because of his love for her. Then Jacob said to Laban, "Give me my wife. My time is completed, and I want to make love to her." So Laban brought together all the people of the place and gave a feast. But when evening came, he took his daughter Leah and brought her to Jacob. And Jacob made love to her, and Laban gave his servant Zilpah to his daughter as her attendant. When morning came, there was Leah. So Jacob said to Laban, "What is this you have done to me? I served you for Rachel, didn't I? Why have you deceived me?" Laban replied, "It is not our custom here to give the younger daughter in marriage before the older one. Finish this daughter's bridal week, then we will give you the younger one also, in return for another 7 years of work." And Jacob did so. He finished the week with Leah, and then Laban gave him his daughter Rachel to be his wife. This is the word of the Lord. Families. They are the original reality show. Long before television, the book of Genesis gave us a front row seat to the mischief, double-crossing, and sibling rivalries that define human relationships. And while we might not have a father-in-law tricking us into a 7-year labor contract, we all know the characters in this story. We know the mischief maker. We know the jealous sibling. We know the double-crosser. Families are messy. They establish systems that don't work, and they respond to problems in ways that often make them worse. There is no such thing as a perfect family, though. Know that. Because there are no perfect people. And yet, family, whether the one we're born into or one we chose, is where we learn the vocabulary of love. We talk a lot in church about the household of faith. And I want you to know that I have seen this in action, both in this congregation and in places like summer church camps where I have worked. The people I've come to know in this congregation care so greatly for each other. And I'm frequently amazed by the behind-the-scenes caregiving that you provide each other. My experience with church camp has shown me that for some, camp provides a powerful experience where children and youth feel truly seen and accepted. Whether it's a biological family or a chosen family, these are places where we fill the gaps for one another, demonstrating a love that is consistent and kind. Thank you for that. So I've heard some of you wonder, where does happy, happy, happy come in here? The theme at camp one year was happy, happy, happy. It's a catchy phrase, and it was popularized by that Pharrell Williams song that maybe we've all heard. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Y'all heard that song? Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. It's a fun time, but here's the truth. We cannot live in a constant state of euphoria. If we expect life to be a room without a roof every day, we will be deeply disappointed. The world tells us that happiness is about having the right things, being first, looking perfect. But the gospel truly tells us a different story. True happiness, the kind that lasts, is not a feeling, it's a state of being right with God. And I call that state abiding joy. If we want to move from fleeting feelings to abiding joy, we must shift our expectations in 3 ways. 1, seek contentment over materialism. We often try to buy our way into happiness, but Christ helps us endure hardships by teaching us that we are already enough in God's eyes. 2, seek service over self. There is a unique power in being God's hands and feet. When we serve, we stop worrying about our own ranking and we start seeing the needs of our neighbors. 3, seek Christ first. I know I'm guilty of this. I want to do it myself. I've been that way since birth. Many people try to go it alone, and they wonder why they feel so empty. When we put Christ first and ourselves second, we find hope, healing, and a sense of purpose that the world cannot take away from us. To understand what this looks like in the middle of a mess, I think we have to look at Leah. The Bible says that Rachel was beautiful, but Leah's eyes were weak. In other words, Leah had nice enough eyes, but Rachel was stunningly beautiful. Leah was the other sister, the one who wasn't wanted. It was Rachel who Jacob loved. The Bible actually leaves Leah and Rachel silent in their story. We don't know what they thought about all the plans that were made for them. We don't even know if their mother was still living, nor if they even shared the same mother. So here is the story of Leah. I will never forget Jacob's eyes that morning. He woke up with tenderness, thinking I was Rachel. Then he lifted my veil, and that look turned into disgust. I was a pawn. My father and my brother sold me like a piece of meat to a man who didn't want me. I told them that their conniving plan would result in Jacob despising me. They didn't care. I spent years trying to earn Jacob's love. I thought, if I just have enough sons, he will finally look at me. But it didn't work. I lived in the shadow of my sister, feeling ugly and invisible. I would have died, I think, except for God. I talked to God a lot. I cried, I grumbled, and I prayed. I gave Jacob several beautiful boys. I thought that would make him love me. I actually felt a smug superiority when my pretty younger sister had trouble bearing children. It was the only time in our whole lives when I had something that she did not. And I'm sorry for feeling that way. It took several years, but I eventually realized that my value didn't come from Jacob's eyes. It came from God. God's eyes. I stopped fighting Rachel, and then when she died, Jacob and I finally shared our grief. We became friends. No, I didn't get the happily ever after, but I found a contentment that only God could give. I talked to God a lot, and I am content. It's easy for us to look at Leah's life and see only a consolation prize. But God's perspective is different. We often assume that the most important blessings flow through the people who are the most beautiful or who are the first choice. Yet God chose Leah. It was through Leah, now hear me, the overlooked sister, that the tribe of Judah was born. And it was from that very line, generations later, that Jesus Christ entered our world. Jesus is the ultimate answer to Leah's story. He spent his entire ministry seeking out the Leahs of the world, the marginalized, the second choices, the brokenhearted. And Jesus told them that they are the priority of God's kingdom. Today, we proclaim Jesus Christ as the one who teaches us true wisdom. In a world that screams at us to be happy by chasing shadows, Jesus offers us the wisdom of the Beatitudes, teaching us that the poor in spirit the mourners, and the peacemakers are the ones who are truly blessed. His wisdom doesn't just give us a catchy tune, it gives us a foundation that cannot be shaken when the storms of life come. And they do come. And more than a teacher, Jesus is the one we go to when we have heavy burdens. Leah carried the heavy burden of being unloved for decades. Many of you are carrying burdens today. The burden of a difficult family dynamic, the weight of aging, the anxiety of the future, or the pain of feeling second. Jesus says to you today, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." He is the burden bearer. He took the heaviest burden of all, our sin and our shame, to the cross so that we wouldn't have to carry it all by ourselves. Leah found a way to be happy, 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 because she stopped looking to Jacob for her worth and started looking to God. So as we head into this week, remember that your happiness doesn't depend on your circumstances being perfect. It depends on who is first in your heart. Go to Jesus with your burdens. Listen to his wisdom. Put Christ first. Be second. And you will find the joy of the Lord, which is your strength.